So there are two things I would recommend in terms of if you really want to work, if you feel like I do obsessively think about how people think about me, is first of all inner child work. That there's some wound here somewhere inside of you to do with a sense of rejection or abandonment. And it's how do we reparent that? How do we reconnect and be present with and available for that child that someone wasn't available for at that moment? And that aspect, that mechanism of doing that in of itself will have some healing effect. And the second thing, as you work on that, something I'm talking about on this channel all the time, is developing a mindfulness practice. And that is developing an understanding of, like, what are our thoughts? How do we think? Why do we think? And we're in such a society, that there's so much emphasis on thinking as the only means and mechanism to problem solve, to understand reality, to perceive reality. It's almost inconceivable that outside of thinking, there are other modes of perception and experience. So a mindfulness practice can help us, one, regain the capacity to feel I can be with myself. I don't have to go outwards, whether it's disassociation, whether it's addiction, whether it's obsessive thinking. It's like an outward movement away from our own lived experience, our own sense of where we are. And mindfulness can help us train back into the comfortability of being where we are. So I think they're the two things I'd recommend: inner child work and mindfulness practice. But I think from an awareness perspective is like, I do this as a result of that. And I think on a more sort of fundamental level, we have to slow down a little bit. We have to slow down and pay attention to, when I go into this obsessive thinking, what's the feeling that just precedes that a little? Because we move into it so quickly, we can lose contact with what that is. What's this discomfort? What's this felt sense of whatever it may be, rejection or abandonment or vulnerability, that this thinking I go into takes me away from? And as you get a sense of that or a feel of that, that's what we're working with, not the thoughts themselves.